Many amateurs have high error rates on serves because they never pay attention to the first bounce. When they serve, their eyes are already looking across the net. This is wrong. Today, I'm teaching you a skill: how to successfully loop the ball when your opponent pushes after your serve. We're not focusing on the textbook technique today, but rather an emergency tactic for crucial points, like at 9-9, just to ensure your loop lands on the table. This is critical, especially on key points when you get tight and try to force more power, which often leads to an immediate error. In these pressure situations, if you can just get your loop on the table, your opponent is likely to make a mistake from the pressure. Let me ask you, isn't looping a backspin ball on the backhand side less consistent than on the forehand? It seems that's the case for most. Therefore, our goal is to get a return to our forehand, which means we shouldn't serve to their backhand. Because they can push wide from their backhand corner, and even from the forehand, they can still push to your backhand. If they push to your backhand, you're forced into that less reliable backhand loop. So, the only way to reliably force a return to your forehand or middle forehand area is to serve to the short backhand corner. Because of the side spin on this serve, if they try to push it to your backhand, the ball will likely go off the side of the table. So, opponents will typically play it safe and push the ball towards the middle or your forehand side. Do you know how to serve this short, wide ball that goes off the side of the backhand court? If not, let's first learn how to execute this serve. First, this serve should not have heavy backspin. A heavy spin serve, when pushed back, is extremely difficult to loop. So, the serve should be half spin or no spin, but avoid pure side spin topspin. A pure side topspin serve will allow them to attack it, turning it into a topspin rally. So you want a half spin ball that forces a slightly high push return. The first key to the short backhand serve is using left side spin, for a righty, and making contact close to your body. Serving close to your body makes it easier. Remember, keep the motion very compact. The key to this serve is a small motion. A large backswing will make the ball go long because the target distance is so short. Second, at the moment of contact, make sure the tip of your racket is pointing towards that short backhand corner. If your racket tip points towards the end line, the serve will go long, you won't get that sharp angle. If your racket face and tip are aimed at the short corner, your serve will naturally go there. The reason you can't serve wide is that you're rotating your racket face forward, which makes the ball go long. Your racket face must be oriented towards the short corner area when you apply force. Watch, it's very simple. My racket face is pointed directly at that short corner. The tip of the racket is, too. See how accurate that is, every single time. Most amateurs make contact on the back of the ball with a forward motion, which is why you can't generate a wide angle. You must control the racket angle. To serve to the forehand, aim there. To serve to the short corner, aim there. Watch, as I brush the ball, it goes right to the short corner. Pay attention to my racket face. The rest of the mechanics are the same as your normal side top or side backspin serves. Once you get the direction right, you can execute the serve. This creates a very wide angle, causing big trouble for the opponent. They can't step in and attack it because amateur footwork isn't fast enough. Let me clarify, a short corner serve must be short. A long serve to that area is just a deep sideline serve. The best effect for this serve is to make it short and floaty, with a sharp curve. When you're serving, remember to aim your racket face and tip towards that wide angle, which will make it much easier. If you aim straight or only brush the back of the ball, it just goes forward, letting your opponent engage. The goal of this wide, short serve is to pull them out of position and force a half-long push, which you can then power loop. Now, let's analyze the first bounce. I'll serve 5 balls. Watch where my first bounce lands, near the net, on the center line, or near the end line. Correct, it's in the middle. When you combine this short corner serve with other placements, Mixing up the angles will make it very hard for your opponent to move. If you can win 4 to 5 points directly from your serves, you'll be very competitive. Many players serve into the net because their first bounce is too close to the net, and the ball doesn't have enough height to clear it. The first bounce must be around the middle of your side of the table. If the first bounce is near your end line, the serve will lack the power and trajectory to make it over the net. You must aim for the first bounce to be near the middle of the court. Second point, don't let the first bounce land in the middle of your backhand half court. For a normal short serve, the bounce is here, but for this wide serve, you must place the bounce closer to the center line, the white line. This will give the serve a much wider, sharper curve after it crosses the net. Watch how I place the first bounce near the center line of the table. The resulting serve is very deceptive and floaty. If your first bounce is further away from the center line, the ball will bounce straighter and won't achieve that sharp, wide angle. Exactly, the angle won't be wide enough. So, always aim for this spot. The closer your first bounce is to the center line, the shorter and wider your serve will be. To summarize, the bounce is in the middle of the table's length, and close to the center white line. Don't let the first bounce drift towards the middle of your backhand court's width. Normally, for an in-table short serve, the first bounce is closer to the net. But for this wide serve, you need to pull the bounce back a bit, making it almost half long. Second, for a hook serve with sidespin topspin, the first bounce must be around the middle of the court. For a hook serve with sidespin backspin, the bounce can be a bit closer to the net. This is because a topspin serve kicks forward, so if the first bounce is too close to the net, the serve will go long. Many amateurs have high error rates on serves because they never pay attention to the first bounce. When they serve, their eyes are already looking across the net. They have no idea where their first bounce landed. This is wrong. Professionals always watch their first bounce. When I serve my short corner ball, I am strictly controlling that first bounce. It's the same for a long serve, I pay very close attention to my first bounce. Most amateur players serve by feel, using their peripheral vision to guess the first bounce location. In contrast, I make sure to precisely control my first bounce. For all my serves, my eyes first lock onto my own side for the first bounce, and then I follow the ball's trajectory over the net. I don't just stare at my opponent. There's a process to practicing serves. If you feel your serve is weak, you must first focus on the location of your first bounce. You need to be able to place the first bounce near the end line for a long serve, near the net for a short serve, and in the middle for a half-long serve. Master the first bounce first. A good serve isn't about having a fancy motion. There is no standard serving motion, only the direction of force at the moment of contact. So, for amateurs, master the first bounce to get a stable feel. After that, the second stage is to build the overall mechanical framework. You must understand the direction of force for the serve you want. Third, once the framework is correct, you work on adding spin, distinguishing between side backspin and side topspin. Develop that sharp, explosive contact, then integrate your body, and all your serves will come together. Otherwise, you could practice for months or years without your serve getting any better. Even if it's good in practice, come match time, after one serve goes long or into the net, you'll start to play tentatively. Your touch becomes inconsistent, too much power or too little, too much brush or too much flat impact. And you end up just passively tapping your serves over. I went through this exact stage when I was young. My coach told me, you must make the first bounce your absolute top priority. Once you master the location of the first bounce, your feel for the serve becomes reliable. That way, your ability to generate spin won't break down due to your mentality or the pressure of the match environment.